Hi, it's Kyle. I'm about to present my final project, my Wordhoard assignment. Crazy to think that the semester's come to this, but let me just share my screen real quick and we'll get right started. Awesome. Present. Okay, so this is my final Wordhoard assignment, my 3 words that have made me think back of concepts on the semester that we've learned in the history of the English language. So my first word is kind of a funny one. So I chose thalassophile, which is very strange because there's no Oxford English Dictionary definition, but based on Wiktionary, which is Wikipedia dictionary, it's basically defined as someone who loves the sea. And I thought it was really interesting because I came across this word. It was a couple of years ago, I believe. There was a basketball player from Australia who I read an article about him and an interview with him saying he called himself, he's a self-proclaimed thalassophile, which means he loves the sea. Being from Australia, that makes a lot of sense. And I just thought that word was so cool, and I've seen it used in other contexts recently. So that's really stuck with me the last couple of years, and I wanted to look it up on the Oxford English Dictionary, and it wasn't there. So I think that really goes back to the concept of the OED is not a perfect collection of words. There are mistakes in it that should be updated, and it really depends on the viewers and the people who create the OED to determine what is a word, what is this word defined as, where its origins come from, everything like that. So just going back on the OED not being this sort of perfect document that we've discussed in class before, because I've seen this word used a decent amount, and I was very shocked to see that it wasn't in the OED. So now my next word is reverie. So this was my original word for the OED assignment. So the definition from the OED that I feel like most people associate reverie with, and mostly that I do as well, is the fact or state of being lost in thought or daydreaming. So I was actually reading, I'm reading currently 1984 by George Orwell. I'd never read that in high school, surprisingly. So I picked it up maybe a couple weeks ago, and I've been reading that. And that came up in one of the first chapters, and it was based off of this sort of definition. But all the outdated definitions I haven't come across. I know some of the outdated definitions that the OED provided were wild and uncontrolled behavior was one of them, and a fit of fury was another one. I've never seen it used in that context, which makes sense because it is really not in use anymore. But it's so strange because the fact of being lost in a thought or daydreaming and then a fit of fury, like I just mentioned, are almost completely opposite things. So it's strange that one word at least used to be able to define both of those feelings and emotions. And also, there's an old Scottish definition that I believe is still used in the country today, according to the OED, that a reverie means like a rumor or like gossip about someone. And I talked about this in my OED assignment, and that's Scotland specific, which I haven't come across anywhere else. But I just think that's a fascinating concept. And now I can't see this word without directly linking it to the Scottish definition or the Scottish use of it. So going on to my next word, mosaic. So the OED defines it as the process of creating pictures or decorative patterns by cementing together small pieces of stone, glass, or other hard materials of various colors. So this is typically the definition that comes first to my head. You think of, like it mentioned, that stone or glass creating this image or this depiction of something. But after reading my classmates' entries in the Marist mosaic, it's fascinating to see a sort of mosaic that doesn't involve physical objects like glass, stone, like I mentioned, but it's works of art and literature by Marist students. And that really, just reading through it, inspired me to write about mosaic. And the word mosaic has been on my mind a lot recently because of that. My classmates did amazing work on that, and it was really a pleasure to read through it. And also, like I mentioned in our last class, I was in high school band and we played a piece called Mosaic. And I believe it was called that because there was just a bunch of different time signatures, tempos. It would all, like, all aspects of the music would change with each section of the piece, and really that time signature change was what made it a mosaic, because it was basically like cementing, quote unquote, these differences in time signatures together to create this one larger concept of music. So music, or a mosaic in a concrete sense, like stone or glass, like the dictionary definition mentions. There's also another OED entry that mentions that it could be made out of paper or wood too. So that might be a little more popular, or just a little different than the stone and glass version. But also just seeing as a mosaic in a conceptual sense, like through music or through literature. So that's put me in that sense of mind of just viewing a mosaic as more than just a physical thing, but also more of an abstract thing. And those are my 3 words. Thank you so much for the semester. I learned so much and I really enjoyed taking this class. And I will be sure to keep you updated with any of my English or career ventures. Thank you so much.